reminding me. Okay, I was talking about binomial distribution. For the binomial distribution, I have a coin whose probability is P, and then I'm flipping my coin n times and defining X to be the total number of heads that I observe. Okay, so now I'm trying to find out P of X and write a mathematical formulation that describes this formula, that describes this experiment, random experiment. Bakın şimdi, what is this? Can anyone explain this to me? Can anyone explain this probability function here?
P times occurred, n minus k times not occurred, and their combination.
What is K, Ahmet Talha? What is K here?
Number of times heads
Appear.
Yes.
Yes, K is the number of times that heads appear, that heads are obtained. What is the range? It is between 0 and n, right? It can come with no heads or all of them are heads. Now, what's the probability of obtaining the heads in the, let's say, what's the probability of, for example, let's not talk about 3, but let's talk about 2. What are the possible outcomes? Heads, heads, head, tail, tails, heads, and tails, tails, right? So what's the probability of obtaining heads here?
1/2.
We don't know it is 1/2. It is
Okay.
1/4 hocam.
it is P, right? So obtaining heads is P. Obtaining another head is also P. So obtaining 2 heads when I flip a coin twice, what is the probability?
P squared.
P squared. Okay? I'm not going to talk about 1/4, 1/8 anymore, because obtaining heads has a special probability value, which is P. 0.2, 0.8, 0.5, it may be any number. That's why I am trying to develop mathematical formulations that is generalizable. Genelleştirilebilir, generalizable. It should be dependent on P. If I plug in P, it will give me the probability. It is just like a mathematical function that you write in MATLAB or in C. Then you just give P, N, and K, then it will give you the probability. Değil mi? For example, you're going to write a function in MATLAB. It's like, give me the probability of K. It will be, what will be the input? The function will be like probability of something, prob. My inputs will be P, N, and K. And then how will I determine my PK? Using this formulation. This is the combination. This is PK and 1 minus P to the power N minus K. Now we are trying to develop this formulation, okay? So that's why if I give you the P, N, and K values, I would be able to determine the probability for each number of heads that I would observe when I flip a coin n times. Ne yapmaya çalışıyordum ben? I'm trying to come up with a mathematical expression that will be generalizable for any kind of P which is given to me. I know it from my experience, from my previous knowledge. And the guy asks me, oh, I'm flipping my coin 10 times. What would be the probability of obtaining 5 of them being heads? and I know that my coin is tricked. Obtaining heads is higher probability, higher likely, it's more likely. So arkadaşlar, how about here? What's the probability of P? What's the probability of H? P. What's the probability of T?
1
1 minus P. What's the probability of this? 1 minus P times P. 1 minus P times 1 minus P. Okay. So how did I come up with this formulation arkadaşlar? Any ideas?
Yes.
If K is 1, what is my N in this question? What is my N?
1
N is 2, right? I'm flipping my coin twice. These are my outcomes, possible outcomes. Takip ediyorsunuz değil mi arkadaşlar? I'm flipping my coin twice. Or I'm flipping 2 coins at the same time. It's the same thing. My N is 2. I would like to find out what would be the probability of obtaining 1 heads when I flip a coin 2 times. Okay. For example, then I'm going to write 2 combination of 2 and 1, P to the power 1, 1 minus P to the power 2 minus 1, which is equal to 2, 1, P times 1 minus P. What do you see here? Why do I have this term over here?
Different combinations involved.
Different combinations. Maybe I will have my H as the first term, as the first flip, in the first flip, or in the second flip, right? So there will be 2 options like that. So P times 1 minus P, you see? P times 1 minus P, P times 1 minus P. One of them is coming from first tails, then heads. The other one is coming from first heads, then tails. That's why I have combinations. 2 different cases in terms of the sequence. So how about obtaining no heads? Arkadaşlar benimle misiniz? Takip ediyor musunuz?
Yes hocam.
0.
What is the probability of obtaining no heads when I flip a coin twice?
1 minus P square hocam.
So I'm going to write 2, 0. Combination of 2 and 0. What is it?
1.
1 times P to the power 0.
1.
1 minus P to the power 2 minus 0. So no heads. No heads. Görüyor muyuz arkadaşlar? So this is 1. This is 1. I will only have 1 minus P to the power 2. Or 1 minus P square. Evet, şimdi Zishan, what did you understand from here? What do I explain? What am I trying to explain to you at this point?
Hocam, I understand just P square.
P square. This one, huh?
Yes.
Why didn't you understand this part? What's the problem here?
Yeah, I understand that, but I didn't understand the formula.
You didn't understand the formula.
Yes.
For example, what am I trying to find? Number of heads, right? Number of heads. So I have 1 coin and flipping it. I may have heads or tails as my option. for each flipping. When I flip a coin, I may have 0 heads, 1 heads, or 2 heads, right? I know these possible outcomes. So this will be my K. And I know N is 2. So then I say, how many no heads case do I have? Only one, right? No heads case is only one. All heads
Yes,
case
hocam.
is also one. That's why I say N 2 combination or T 2 combination. 2 combination is 1. 2 combination is 1. So 2 edges, no heads and all heads are like, there is only one probability. There is only one possible outcome like that. But for the 1 heads case, I may have more than one such situations. If you remember, what were we doing? Like in terms of if P was equal to 1/2, ne yapıyorduk? What's the
Hocam ya, if there is a one head, so K will be 1, right?
Yes, K will be 1 if there is only 1 heads when I flip a coin twice.
N is 2, then I write,
2.
okay.
So I will flip twice my coin. Heads might come in the first flip or in the second flip. That's why I say combination of 2 and 1.
Huh, okay.
Okay? If it is like 2 heads, then it is like combination of 2 and 2. If it is no heads, combination of 2 and 0. There is only 1 here. But here I have 2 options. Why do I have 2 options? Heads, tails, or tails, heads options.
Yeah, they can replace.
Okay? They can come in the first place or second place. What is the probability of obtaining heads and tails? P times 1 minus P. Değil mi? Bak,
Evet.
the probability of obtaining heads is P. The probability of obtaining tails is 1/T.
Yes, hocam.
So 1/P times 2 minus 1, P times P to the power 1.
Ha, okay hocam, I understand.
Okay? So this
Okay.
N minus K will be the remaining.
Is the
P.
rest.
Yes, the rest. This will be like tails in that case.
Okay.
Okay. So how about if I wanna do N equals 3 arkadaşlar. If I wanna have 3 flips. Ahmet Kayapınar, what do you think?
There are 3 heads, all heads, and also 3
Sorry, Ahmet. What's the probability of obtaining 1 head when I flip my coin 3 times?
P times 1 minus P times 1 minus P. So 1 minus P square times P.
1 heads, right? So I might
Yes.
have heads, tails, 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 heads, tails, 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 heads. I have 3 different options, right? What do I reflect this 3 options? Here. By writing 3 or 1. Out of 3 flips, 1 of them will be heads. What are the possible outcomes? Obtaining heads as the first one, second one, or third one. Now I'm done with this part. Then I should write this part, right? What's like, are the probabilities of each of these are different from each other? No, right? The probability of this is P, 1 minus P, 1 minus P, 1 minus P times 1 minus P. It's always 1 minus P squared times P. This is N minus K, and this is K, which is 1. Anlıyor muyuz gençler? Mahmut, do you understand what I'm talking about? Arkadaşlar, you automatically close your cameras. Let me see your faces and see if you understand or not. Let me see your faces arkadaşlar. If you are turning off your cameras, I don't know if you are following me or not. It's also good for you to have such a check on yourselves. Did you understand this part arkadaşlar? Out of 3 flips, I have only 1 flip with heads. What's the probability of obtaining one heads? P. What's the probability of obtaining the rest as tails? 1 minus P to the power the rest. 2. Anladık inşallah değil mi arkadaşlar? Peki. This is the probability of obtaining 0 heads when I flip a coin n times, and the probability of obtaining heads is equal to 0.3. What is this? Why is this the highest? How was my formulation? Nk, p to the power k, 1 minus p to the power k. This is my probability of obtaining k heads.
Hocam, it should be n minus k.
Which one? N minus k?
1 minus p
Thank
power.
you. Thank you very much, Sedat. I corrected. Why is this the highest, arkadaşlar? Why is 3 the highest?
Let's say it's biased to the left. It would have been 5, right? Maybe it's biased to the left.
Bias to the left. Why?
Hocam, because 1 minus 0.3 is 0.7. This is the highest. Give it 7.
0.7
Over 7.
0. To the power 7 is 0.3 to the power 3, right?
Yes.
Arkadaşlar, so you see n times p will have the highest probability. 3 will have the highest probability because like 30% of the time I will have heads. Like 30% of the time. That means out of 10 flips, I should have 3 flips on average. Okay? So that's why, for example, if I do this 20 and 0.6, what is the highest value? 20
12.
times 0.6, which is 12. Out of 10, 6 heads is probable. Out of 20 flips, 12 flips are probable. Less than, but close to this value, it is still high probability, but away from this 12, like 20, obtaining 20 is very low. Obtaining 0 is very low. Why? Bakın ne yapıyorum? N, which is 20, 0, which is 1, p to the power 0, no heads, which is 0.6, times 1 minus p, 0.4, to the power 20. So this is 1, this is 1. What is the probability here? 0.4 to the power 20. It is very, very low number, right? Similarly here, if is the probability of obtaining 20 heads, all of them being heads, is it low probability? Yes, it is. 20, p to the power 20 times 1 minus p to the power 0, which is 0.6 to the power 20, which is also a very low number, almost close to 0. So what is my message here, arkadaşlar? When I know this probability distribution for binomial experiments, binomial random experiments, I may find my probabilities for each outcome easily. And each of these binomial distributions have some kind of a let's say, some kind of a characteristic. And what does the characteristic show us? N times P will be the highest probable case. And when we go away from this N minus P, the probability will go away. Okay, please write a code in MATLAB or in Java or in any other language. Please write a code to see these formulations on your own. Increase N, increase and change P and plot them as you wish, okay? So let's continue with another type of experiment, random experiment. But in this time, I have my multinomial distribution. What was special about binomial distribution?
Two outcomes.
I had only two possible options, right? Heads, tails, pass, fail, male, female. These were the only options. But in multinomial, zaten bi means two, biannual, bi-weekly, right? Multi means more than two, right? Multinomial. For example, we might have three options: light, heavy, or acceptable outcomes. So this is the probability for this multinomial case. What do you understand from here, arkadaşlar? Please read the text. And what is x1, x2, and p1, p2, and p3? What is x1? Evet, Salih, what do you think x1 is?
It's a random variable.
It's just one random variable. X2 is another random variable, right?
Yes, hocam.
In the previous case, we had this, right? And K.
Yeah.
And the formula was PK, 1 minus P, N minus K. This was binomial. What's the difference here? Now I will have N and X1 and X2 and X3. Different options.
Yes, hocam.
For example, three options. Here I won't have PK anymore. I will have P1 to the power X1 and P2 power X2 and P3 to the power X3. Let me give you one example, and I hope you will understand multinomial distribution. Okay. Let me write the formula, and I want you to read and write your answers. You have a couple of minutes to solve the problem. N, X1, X2, X3, P1, X1, P2, X2, P3, X3. And X1, X2 means, for example, if N is 5, X1 is 2, X3 is 1, and X3, this is 2, then we would write N factorial divided by 2 factorial, 1 factorial, 2 factorial. This addition of them should be equal to N. X1 plus X2 plus X3 should be equal to n. And P1 plus P2 plus P3 should be equal to 1. Probability, or addition of all probabilities will be equal to 1. And the possible outcome, number of possible outcomes addition, summation, should be equal to total number of outcomes. Okay. Okay, I'm stopping here to talk. I want you to read the question and write your answers. What's the probability that 6 randomly arriving airplanes are distributed in the following fashion? Runway means pist in Turkish, pist. In the highway, in the airport, runway 1, there are 3 runways, and we know the probabilities of each runway to be used. And I want you to find out, there are 6 randomly arriving airplanes, and I want 2 of them, like what's the probability of 2 of them going using the runway 1, 1 of them using the runway 1, 2, and 3 of them using the runway 3. Please write to the chat. Arkadaşlar, don't feel like 6, 2 times 6, 3. No, we're going to write as I explained here. Like repetitive permutations. You remember that part? Repetitive, tekrarlı permütasyon, repetitive, or permutation with repetitions. You see, I don't have 2 options. Now I have 3 options, and each option has different probability. In different case, like obtaining heads was P, obtaining tails was 1 minus P. Now here, I have all these probabilities, which is equal to 1, the total probability, right? 4 over 18, 3 over 18, 11 over 18. If I add these 3, it should be equal to 1. What is my n? 6. 2 plus 1 plus 3 is equal to 6. So I'm going to write 6 factorial divided by 2 factorial, 1 factorial, 3 factorial times P1 to the power 2. Değil mi? Neden? 2 airplanes are using that runway. The probabilities should be multiplied. 2 of them occurring together times 1 airplane using runway 2, P2, times 1 runway, 3 planes are using runway 3, that means P3 to the power 3. Bu da bize, it may show us different combinations of sending 6 planes to different runways, pistes. Okay? If you remember from high school, we had 6 envelopes and we were sending it to 3 postal boxes, right? How many times would we, how many different types, or how many different number of different times that I would distribute these envelopes to 3 different addresses, kind of. So then it means 6 times 5 times 4 divided by 2 times 2 over 9 to the power 2 times 1 over 6 times 11 over 18 to the power 3. Okay? So I think you found it 0.1127. Okay, you got the main idea about multinomial and binomial cases, arkadaşlar. So binomial, I have two possible options. Multinomial, I will have more than two options. Okay, 3, 4, and 5, and more. And then I should take care of each probability differently and multiplying it how many times I need it. So that's how I can use this formulation then. Okay, so next time I will be talking about, arkadaşlar, on Thursday we will be talking about hypergeometric distribution. What I will be doing, I'm gonna share these slides with you, and I want you to go over them. And on Thursday, inshallah, we will solve questions together. Okay, to practice these different types of distributions and how I can solve different solutions with different probability distributions. Okay, arkadaşlar, it will take like half an hour for you to go over them. There is a nice explanation in the book, and please go. If you have midterm, you can leave right now, no problem. We will meet on Thursday, inshallah, at like 10:30 or something like that, and then we will 11:30. I mean 11:45, and then we will do some practice together. Okay, before you leave, I want to practice a bit more. Okay, see you inshallah. Have a nice week, and hope to see you on Thursday morning.
Hocam,
Efendim Sedat?
See you, hocam. Thank you.
Thank you
dünkü
very much.
quizde